Okay, welcome to Worksheet 19. Last call for prepositional phrases. Okay, so this worksheet's kind of a little bit of everything, putting all these skills together. We'll have a quiz on these on Thursday. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit different. What's up, Jaden? So you are going to be expected to do something like section 1, where I will give you a preposition. You will choose the Latin noun form that could go with it. What's up, James? They're not going to be in two neat rows where the accusative is always on the left and the ablative is always on the right. Just fair warning. But you will have to do something similar to this. So I wanted you guys to get used to seeing different accusatives, different ablatives, what they look like, and hopefully you will choose the correct forms. So I know we did most of these in class, so you guys can just kind of go rapid fire. Ultra. Which of these forms is going to go with ultra? Ultramare, ultramari. Ultramare. This takes the accusative beyond the sea. Right? Ultramare. Mare is neuter, so it doesn't quite look like it is accusative, but it is. Ex inimicos, ex inimicis. Inimicos, inimicis. Which one? It's going to be the ablative. Inimicis. Okay. Out of the enemies, in the sense of like 2 of the enemies, 3 out of the enemies, 4 out of the enemies, which we discussed in class a little bit. Ob causam, ob causa. Obladi, oblada. Oh, oh, whoa. Yeah, so obi, the preposition ob, goes with the accusative. Ab, ab, goes with the ablative. Tricky, tricky. Ob causam literally for the reason, on account of the reason. So you would use this in Latin like you would say for this reason. So I went to the store and for this reason I have no money because I spent it all. No worries. Extra, extra caus, extra castra, or extra castris. A lot of dr in those words. Extra castra or castris. Yeah, the accusative one. Extra, another weird thing. X goes with ablative, extra goes with accusative. Extra castra. What does it mean if someone is standing extra castra? They are standing where? Extra castra. Outside the camp, right? If they were inside the camp, you could say in castris or you could say intra castra. Either one. Circum. Circum urbem. Circum urba. Urbem. Urba. Urbem. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Circum, always with the accusative, around the city. Cum, cum vos, cum vobis. Yeah, it is cum vobis. And I think I mentioned this in one class, maybe I forgot in the other. More often than not, it is written as vobis cum. Yep. So sometimes that word will be written as, those 2 words will be written like that. Instead of cum vobis, it'll be opposite. It'll be vobis cum. Apud, apud forum Romanum, apud foro Romano. Which one would it be? Forum. Yep. Apud takes the accusative. Forum Romanum. What does that mean? Apud forum. Forum Romanum. Il foro romano. What is a forum? Nice Latin word that we didn't even change in English. We just use it as it is, a forum. It's like a open space, basically. 60 forum. Yeah, you guys had a 60 forum, right? It's a meeting area, or sometimes it just means a meeting. Um, so the Roman Forum is like the big open, where all the temples and the courts and the office buildings and all that stuff. Still there. And Prae goes with, as James said, Prae goes with the ablative. So Curia. Curia would be one of the buildings in the Forum. Curia is the Senate house. It's where the Senate would meet. So Prae Curia in front of the Senate house. Okay. For part 2, here we have our noun adjective declensions. Okay, we'll get that out of the way. So we can start with the noun. Opus operis. Opus operis. What would the dative be? What would my dative form be if it's opus operis? Operi, keep them coming. Accusative. Don't do it. I know what you're going to do. Don't do it. Yeah, nice, James. Right? Accusative would be same as the nominative because it's neuter. Well done, well done, well done. What about ablative? You got to go back to the stem now. Opere. Excellent. What about my plural? Since it's neuter, it's going to be a little different than what we would expect. Opera. Yep. Excellent. Should look familiar in English. Keep them coming, guys. Opera. Genitive plural. Third declension. Dig deep. Operum. I'm going to use that stem the whole way now. Oper, oper, oper. Operibus. Opera. And operibus. Fantastic. So it's third declension, neuter noun. A couple things to remember. Nominative and accusative are the same. The plurals ending in A. Adjective noun, noster, nostra, nostrum. Which one? Yeah, nostrum. And what declension is nostrum? It is second neuter, right? So we're going to power through those. Nostrum, nostri, nostro, nostrum, nostro. Jaden, I know you're taking Spanish, if I remember correctly. James, what language are you taking? What's your modern foreign language? Nostrorum, nostris, nostra, nostris. Easy money. You're taking French. Okay. Sweet. So you're both in the Romance languages. So Spanish here, nostro becomes nuestro. And French, it's spelled notre, because French is French. Frenchy French. So if you know the word like Notre Dame means Our Lady, basically. All right, prepositional phrases. So first 8, we're translating Latin to English. Easy money. Yes, I did. I had a feeling that there was going to be some incoming fire. So I decided to preemptively take it down. But I can certainly put it back up. It has returned once people start typing. Hi. There it is. Yes, exactly. Randos pop in. We decide to boot the randos. All right, so in Regno Romanorum, in the kingdom of the Romans, right? We did that one in class. Ad castra finitima, to the nearby, neighboring, bordering, any of those would work, to the nearby camp. Super, above the tall. Spelling game is off right now. And we'll pick it up there with you guys. Number 4, Submari Kairu Leo. Under the blue sea. From the 36 pack. Contra gladiatores expertos. Against whom? I know we went over this in your class, Jaden. You guys are in the same class. There you go. Yeah, against the skilled gladiators. Right. Number 6. We definitely did not get to this one, but I know you asked me about Claudius. So how are we going to translate day? We're talking about viris Claudis. Remember, there are a couple different meanings for day. Yeah, when it's with people, I just don't know that down from is going to make a whole lot of sense. Down from the famous men just doesn't really make sense. So about the famous men. So obviously without context, it's hard to decide what the best translation is, but in certain situations, you know. Number 7, A Poeta Britannico. Again, we don't have context, but there's one particular translation of A that might go here. It could be from a British poet. That would be literally like running away from a British poet. That could work. There's another meaning of A that goes with people quite a bit. By, yeah. So by the British poet. Again, we don't have context. We don't have a sentence. That was only passive, but we don't have a sentence. So I don't know what the context is here. So it could be, you know, if the verb is fugiunt, they are running away from the British poet, then great. If it's liber scriptus est, if it were passive, the book was written a poeta britannico, then sure. So when we're doing them out of context, since would have to be with like time words. It's a story from a British poet? Yeah, could be. Absolutely. We would just need more. That's all. How about number 8? Cum pauci senatoribus. So with prepositions, you always have to be kind of flexible. Cum pauci senatoribus. With a few senators. Fantastic. All right. Paucis, what's the opposite of paucis? What's the opposite of saying a few senators? What's the opposite of paucis? Probably multis. Many versus a few. If there were no senators, it would be nullis. Nullis senatoribus would be no senators. Multis senatoribus with many. Pauci senatoribus with a few. Omnibus senatoribus with all the senators. Okay, just depends. outside of the ancient temple, so we need the preposition, then we need to think about what case it goes with, and then we need to make the word that case. So kind of a multi-step process. What do we think? What are we thinking? Outside of. Extra, fantastic, extra. Templum, which is the accusative, and antiquum. There we go. Pretty easy second declension. Second declension noun. The always looks weird. It most certainly does, but we can say that word in English, right? Vacuum. Vacuum. Is that how you say it? Vacuum? We just say vacuum. Basically the same. Antiquus. And you hear it, a double N is going to sound stupid, but when you have two U's in a row, it sounds like a W. Antiquum. So you can pretend like it's a W. Antiquum. That's why they call it a double U, because it's two U's smashed together. Number 10, I believe we did in class. So you have a couple of different prepositions that you could use. You could use ad, you could use apud, you could use prope, statuam, that's the accusative of statue. And then neronis, we could put it at the end. We could say neronis there, or we could put it in the middle. Neronis, we could put it there. Statuam neronis, neronis statuam. Whichever floats your boat. You can see it in both places. I like prope. I'm going to go with prope. Into the dark forest. So we said in class today, into is in with the accusative case. In silvam obscuram. So make sure when it's a noun and an adjective, dark forest, they need to agree with each other. But statue of Nero, that's not a noun and an adjective, so they're not going to be the same case. The of Nero is going to go into the genitive case. And before the first battle, I kind of like ante when they were talking about time before. Ante what? Probably is okay too. Proelium, if we're going to use ante. Proelium primum. Or ante primum proelium. Proelium primum, primum proelium. Doesn't really matter. If you use pri, you would use the ablative. Ante, you would use the accusative. All right, so now we're doing something a little bit more complicated, which we have to really think about the context. You have to consider whether or not you even need a preposition. There might be one in English, there might not be one in Latin, vice versa. The men will run toward the danger, carrying their weapons. Toward the danger. Well done. Yeah, periculum is danger. So since we are running towards, the danger, we're moving towards the danger, we're going to use the preposition. Okay. We will make our way from the island to our new home. From the island to our new home. We'll go from one place to another. I don't know if X would be the one we would use here. Think about our expression that we learned today, from the egg to the apples. Yeah, I think it would be ob. I think ob insula is probably the... Not obi. That's because of, or on account of. So ob... You will often see expressions like this. So ob something, ad something else. Ab owo usque ad mala. Ab and ad are kind of opposites. From the island to our new home. For 4 years, the runners have prepared for the Olympics. For 4 years. How are we going to do this? We're not going to use pro. Because what do you mean when you say for 4 years? Is that the same as saying, like, for your son, for your daughter, for your friends? Is that the same meaning when you say for 4 years? I don't know. I mean, I bought a gift for my son versus I prepared for 4 years. Are those the same thing? No, they are not. So you always want to be thinking about when you are trying to say that something lasted for an extent of time, for a period of time. And this goes back to worksheet 19. We use the accusative case. So we're going to put 4 years into the accusative, but no preposition. So no preposition here. 4 años. So when you're doing something over the course of a long period of time, you just put the amount of time into the accusative case. No preposition. Time words really don't go with prepositions in Latin. Whether it's time when or it's duration of time, they just don't really mess with prepositions when it comes to timing. So this is how we do it. If it were for 3 years, 3 años. If it were for 2 years, 2 años. So that's all you do. No preposition. I might expect to see something like that on the quiz. What if something was about 4 years? What do you mean? Like if something lasted around 4 years, but not exactly 4 years? Use it in a sentence, and I'll see what you mean. Let's move on to number 4, and I'll get back to you, I promise. It is always more fun to travel with your friends. It is always dangerous to fight with your swords. So we have 2 different situations here. With your friends versus with your swords. Only one of those is going to use a preposition. Which one's going to use a preposition? With people or with objects? You have a quiz about the 4 years. Oh, then you would use day. You'd use the preposition day. De 4 años administrationes Jacksones. Yeah. So what's the preposition for with? When we think of in our minds, what's the Latin word for with? It's the preposition cum. I don't know if it's going to let you put it in the chat, but it's the preposition cum. Cum tuis amicis, with your friends. Yeah. But when you do something with a tool, with an object, you don't use the preposition cum. So So if you remember, there's a name for that situation, that ablative, where you do something with an object, with a tool. What do we call that ablative use? What do we call, eating with a fork, writing with a pen, fighting with a sword, ablative of means, right? An ablative of means does not use a preposition. You would not say in Latin cum gladiis. That would sound like your best friends were swords and you were traveling around with them. That's weird. So this is another one of those situations where the prepositions don't line up exactly the same. With people, use cum. With objects, don't use cum. Okay? And like I said, prepositions are fickle. They have their own weird rules. Okay? So we just practice them. Oh my God, Patrick Jackson. What's up, Patrick? All right, any other questions before I sign off? My next class in 10 minutes. Sweet. All right, guys. Good luck with the rest of your day. See you later.